starting off the video with coffee. We don't normally do that, but that's what we're doing today. Welcome back to a brand new video, everybody. So today I'm talking about a new computer that I just got, which as you see in front of me is the M1 MAX MacBook Pro. Now this is the fully spec'd out model when it comes to the performance aspect of things. So it has the 32 core GPU. I also have 64 gigabytes of RAM with the 1 terabyte SSD. Do go up to 8 terabytes, but that is so expensive. I think it's almost $4,000 to get the full 8 terabyte upgrade. So just to preface now, I'm not gonna be going into a lot of technical detail. What I'm gonna be talking about is what made me decide to switch from my $2,000 editing PC, desktop PC, to a laptop. So yeah, I'm coming from a $2,000 editing rig. I custom built this back in 2019. So the specs of this PC are a i9-9900K, 32 gigabytes of DDR4 clocked at 3200 megahertz, and a GTX 1060 3GB version. So I know the 1060 is definitely the weak part of that system, but we all know what it's like to try to upgrade in today's current market. You know, the prices are just so extremely high. The PC has served me really well. I mean, it's been used for mostly editing, but quite a bit of gaming as well. But I could edit H.264, 4K footage from the A7S III, even some of the more compressed versions that the A7S III puts out really well. And you know, it wasn't that big of an issue. When you start adding color effects, visual effects, any kind of text footage or anything, or even start stacking multiple layers of footage, that's when you start getting into some of the issues. And so it really kills the PC. And especially if you're editing on Premiere, it'll just crash and you'll lose your progress and stuff, so that's not fun. It takes time to kind of curate the footage so that the PC can edit it, if that makes sense. So whether that be making proxies or rendering out an effect to bring back into the timeline, there's so much time that is spent making all of that work for my PC. So enter the 2021 MacBook Pro. Now, before I even go into this, the one killer feature that this has over my desktop is that you can do this. Anywhere, I can edit videos. Being able to edit anywhere is such a powerful tool that I'm surely going to be using all of the time. So I wanted to talk about a few of the features that really make this the absolutely ultimate editing machine for me, personally. So number one, the sheer power of the M1 Max. Now, I'm coming from an i9-9900K, which isn't a small CPU either, but the M1 Max constantly in a lot of different areas is blowing past the capabilities of that Intel chip. So this is obviously for me going to be a video editing machine, and that's what it is for a lot of other people as well. People that are just generating media, this is going to be really great. And I think this is really designed for those kinds of people because of the hardware that it has in it. Now, what I'm talking about is the built-in media encoding and decoding engine. So this year, Apple brought into the M1 Max and M1 Pro chips the dedicated media engine for accelerating the encoding and decoding of ProRes, H.264, and a bunch of other codecs. So that engine is designed to make working with those codecs an absolute breeze, and it works. It's amazing. You 100% notice a difference coming from something like an Intel chip. Now that the task of decoding and encoding aren't entirely on the CPU, it frees it up for other tasks, which makes your Mac better for multitasking. So as I said in the beginning, I opted for a 32-core GPU rather than the 24-core option. You do see an improvement in render times and in general playback. Now, I did actually switch to DaVinci Resolve, so let me know if you guys want to see a video about that and me talking about why I switched. So without going any further, let's go ahead and check out some real-world performance differences that we see between the M1 Max and my $2,000 editing rig. Okay, so here we are at my desk and I have both my PC set up as well as the new MacBook here. And what we're gonna be testing out is some of my DJI Air 2S drone footage. This is at 5.4K H.265, and this is some of the most intensive stuff that I can run on my computer. So what we have here on both machines is the exact same project file. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the start here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start playback and see if we drop frames on either one of them. All right, so we're both at 23.976 frames per second. We're looking pretty good. Now let's go ahead and let's take it up a notch and let's add some color. So I'm gonna go ahead and enable this adjustment layer on both of these guys. And I'm gonna hit play. Okay, so we had a little bit of lag here. We're dropping a little bit of frames on the computer. Mac is going completely steady, no issues at all. Once the PC gets going, it's going strong, but it has to build up for that second there. All right, so I'm gonna try fast forwarding. Okay, you see we're dropping frames hard on here, and the Mac is going completely fine. Look at that. There you can really see the differences. Let's try 2 times. And the PC just stops. Like it's not going at all. And the Mac gives us perfect playback. Okay, so this is where we're really gonna see who's the clear winner. 4 5.4K clips being streamed at once. So this is all 4 of those shots just at one time with color. And so let's see what we get here. All right, we're getting 23.976 and 3.5 frames on the PC. Literal smooth playback on battery, mind you. And on here, we're getting 3.5 frames per second. This is unreal. Okay, so just for our final test right now, we have 8 streams of 5.4K playing back at once, and we're gonna see how this will even work. Now, I'm fully expecting the M1 Max. I actually haven't tried this, so I'm gonna see if the M1 Max can even keep up. But as you see, we have 8 streams of 5.4K streaming at once. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, we're dropping frames on the M1 Max. We're getting 10 frames there, 0.5 frames here, 2.5 frames here. Okay, now we're at full 24 frames per second playback, almost full 24 FPS playback here, where it's completely frozen right now. This is unpaused, and it's completely frozen, whereas the M1 Max is still going strong. So reason number 2, the fact that they brought back ports. So I had the original Retina MacBook Pro, the 2012 version that I bought from a friend a while back. And what was really great about it is that it had an SD card slot. Most importantly, now you did have USB, HDMI, and MagSafe, which was really cool. But then they took all of those things away in next iterations of the MacBook. So you'd only have 3 or 4 Thunderbolt ports, and that's it. Which is not the greatest when you have to carry around all these dongles to do everything. But oh my goodness, they brought it back. So we have 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports, which is what we've had before. Super fast file transfers through those, amazing. They brought back MagSafe, which is awesome because it's just fast charging and it's the best way to charge. USB-C sucks. They have an HDMI port, which I use a lot actually, way more than I thought I was going to, but connecting it to a monitor, it's just super handy. But most importantly, and the one that I was so psyched about, is that they brought back an SD card slot. Being able to shoot photos on the road, plug it into your computer, and edit them was something that was so great about the original MacBook that I had. Now, you could do that with other MacBooks, but not just directly into the computer. You'd have to have a dongle. So being able to plug it directly into the computer is so wonderful and so great. So a lot of people are complaining that the SD card and HDMI port aren't the best on the market right now. Now, that's honestly fine with me. I haven't noticed a horrible difference. The SD card slot is faster than what I was using before as a dedicated SD card reader. So, I mean, I'm happy with it. And reason number 3, the top of the line screen quality that you're getting out of this MacBook. So Apple basically took their $4,000 Pro Display XDR and shrunk that screen technology down into this laptop, and oh my, does it look so good. I've actually never seen a screen that looks this good. You have to see it in person to fully enjoy it. HDR content looks great, and just editing photos, editing anything on this looks amazing. And not to mention that it has ProMotion. So I'm coming from a 144 Hz screen on my PC because I love high refresh rate screens. They look so good, especially with the new iPhone having ProMotion as well. Everything that I have is switching to that 120 Hz or 144 Hz refresh rate. I knew I wanted to get this laptop, but I was afraid when the leaks started coming out that it was just gonna be like the rest of the laptops that they've had and only be 60 Hz. But it has ProMotion, so it looks so smooth and so good and so nice. So To get anything comparable to what this looks like, you're gonna have to spend that $4,000 to get that Pro Display XDR, and at that point, you're still getting only 60 Hertz, because that's all that is. All right, so reason number 4 would be macOS. I love macOS. Editing on Mac is just something otherworldly, in my opinion. Compared to Windows, Windows feels very gritty and kind of, I don't know, I feel like I'm very not productive around Windows, whereas Mac feels like it just breeds creativity. It's entirely a psychological thing, but even so, I love editing on Mac, and something as simple as AirDrop. Being able to edit a photo, drag it over to my iPhone and have it there immediately is wonderful. Now you do have Snapdrop on Windows, but here it's not working for me. I've tried to figure it out and I can't. I don't know why it's not working. So you'd have to drag it into Drive and then download it on your phone. It's just, it takes way longer than it does with AirDrop. AirDrop is so nice. And that's just the perk, again, with macOS being a part of the Apple ecosystem. Everything's just meant to work with each other, and it does so flawlessly. All right, so reason number 5 would be kind of hand in hand with the power of the M1 Max, and that is the efficiency of these chips is insane. So these new chips from Apple use significantly less chips than the previous Intel chips that they had. In return, meaning 1, you're getting better battery life, and 2, way less thermal output, which means the fans don't need to kick in, giving you better battery. But more importantly, keeping the CPU from thermal throttling, which was such a big issue with the old Macs. With other older Intel Macs, they would just be really high performing until they would get hot and they'd have to pull back the CPU so far, which would make them unusable for editing on long periods of time. So you'd have those burst moments when the CPU is cool, but once it gets hot, you just have to wait for it to cool down again because you're getting terrible power. And the cooling system that on those computers were so awful. It blows my mind. It was very much a form over function style of build, whereas that's something that they really addressed in this new body. And with these new chips, since they're not creating that thermal byproduct, again, it's not thermal throttling, so you're really never slowing down on that amazing power. And this kind of goes into my next point, is that Intel chips that match this kind of power have to be clocked back once you go on full battery power mode. Hey, quick editor's note here. So I said computers with Intel chips have to be clocked back, and that's not entirely accurate. So it would be more like other high-performing laptops that have high TDP CPUs and GPUs. So something that has a discrete GPU, whether that be NVIDIA or AMD, they have to clock back in order to preserve battery life. So just wanted to clarify that up. Whereas this, since again, they're so power efficient, on battery life, you're still getting the max amount of power that you're getting plugged in, which is insane. So unplugged, out on the road, you can be editing with the full power that you would be plugged in, which is not something that you could ever do before, or something that you can do with equivalent Windows laptops. And reason number 6, the sheer portability of this system is what made it for me. Never before could something this powerful and efficient come in this kind of a package. There's no denying it's extremely expensive, but then again, where else can you get this kind of an experience? The ability to have desktop level performance, video editing on the road is so cool. So I'll be traveling quite a bit and I would have to leave my desktop at home because obviously you can't take that everywhere with you. So having this now, this has more power than my desktop PC and I can take it everywhere. That is why I'm switching to Mac. That blows my mind. Something that happened recently is that somebody wanted an in-person editing session, which means I had to take all my PC gear, which was literal totes of stuff, to this place so that I could accomplish what they wanted me to do. Now with this, it would just be charger and laptop, keyboard and mouse, and I would be good. That's all I need. Thanks guys for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, you should totally let me know by saying something in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, or you should totally hit that like button if you feel like it. If not, I know where you live. That's actually in this script that I wrote. I know where you live. I think about these jokes beforehand. It was funny, wasn't it? You laughed. You admit it, you laughed. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys have an awesome day. Naturally, it would be the cliche coffee time, but we did start with that. However, I am out, so perhaps it's time for a refill. All right, have a great day, people.